Tonight is a community service of the New York Institute of Technology.
Covering the news of Nassau and Suffolk Counties, Long Island News Tonight with Ken Eckhart, Carol Pack, and the award-winning LI News team.
Good evening, I'm Carol Pack. Here's what's happening. Long Island Railroad commuters will have to put up with delays for at least another day. More than 20 trains were cut again today as the railroad works to repair 275 railroad ties that were damaged over the weekend by an Amtrak derailment in an East River tunnel. Railroad President Helena Williams says the work is taking longer than expected. Railroad officials originally said they expected service to return to normal by Thursday morning, but that's no longer certain. A Bayville teacher was charged today with endangering the welfare of a child. According to Nassau County Police, 47-year-old John Benstock was working as a music teacher at the Bayville Intermediate School in Locust Valley when he had inappropriate contact with a child under the age of 10. Police say the incident happened on April 26th. It's being reported the school district reassigned Benstock to his home with pay and directed him not to have contact with any student in the school district. Some disabled Suffolk County residents with complaints about paratransit service say they want to be present when drivers are told about the complaints against them. Charles Perry has more.
Often people in wheelchairs have to rely on services like paratransit, which provide a ride to those with disabilities. But these riders say they've seen the darker side of paratransit in a Long Island service called SCAT. That stands for Suffolk County Accessible Transit. Riders at a transportation committee meeting in Hart Park say they've experienced things like poor service and physical abuse, but say they're not allowed to attend hearings when a driver is reprimanded.
There's no system whereby you're treated fairly. First you have a problem on the bus, then you're not even allowed to be there, which is very condescending.
You get a response back, which usually turns out to be the driver doesn't remember or the driver was talked to. There's no resolution to a situation.
This rider told legislators she's had enough mistreatment.
I just want the right to go where I want to go to in a safe manner. And it's not happening.
And a former Suffolk County bus technician gave us this insight.
Transportation needs to have somebody on top of this and doing it, and right now they don't have the personnel to do that.
Why isn't it possible just to send a copy of the hearing notice and inviting the person who feels they've been victimized to attend the hearing?
It's an internal situation where they review the matter with the driver.
Tom Baraga says he's given the Public Works Department 2 weeks to rectify the problem, so those who claim they have been victimized can have a fair say as well. In Old Westbury, Charles Perry, LI News Tonight.
Dozens of new citizens took their oath of allegiance recently at Sagamore Hill, the former home of a U.S. president. Kyle Rytan has the story.
Family and friends welcomed 50 new citizens during the first naturalization ceremony ever conducted at Oyster Bay's Sagamore Hill National Park. The director of U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services says immigrants become official citizens every day in the New York district during naturalization ceremonies like this one.
It is an important day. We've been working as an agency with the National Park Service to identify venues for citizenship ceremonies, and we were contacted by Sagamore Hill, and we never get to do anything out this way on Long Island, so we were thrilled. And of course, what better setting than a former president's home to bring new citizens into the American family.
The 50 citizens originated from countries including Jordan, Italy, Iran, Haiti, and Peru, and U.S. Eastern District Judge Joanna Sabert administered the oath of allegiance. One citizen who came from Mexico was cheered on by her 3 proud children.
Okay, and
Happy.
You're happy for Mom?
Excited.
Excited? What about you?
Excited.
I feel very happy. Finally, I'm citizen.
My fellow Americans, to use an old Navy term from my days as Assistant Secretary of the Navy, welcome aboard!
From Sagamore Hill in Oyster Bay, Kyle Rytan, LI News Tonight.
People weren't the only ones to lose their homes to a devastating tornado that recently ripped through the South. Many pets were left homeless as well. But as Jody Goldberg reports, a Long Island organization is helping some of those animals find new homes.
These puppies are tornado victims from Alabama, saved by an emergency rescue team from North Shore Animal League in Port Washington.
We have 2 units that actually were deployed, and I went to the Greater Birmingham Humane Society, and we helped them take some of their animals out.
The rescue team says they hope to give these animals a new life in better conditions, following the tornadoes that killed hundreds of people last month and left pets like these stranded.
There's actually 78 animals altogether. There was about 23 kittens and about 55 dogs. So, between puppies and kittens and dogs, we brought them safely back up here to the north to put them up for adoption.
Jen Lewis, who took part in the rescue, says the animals were either in a shelter prior to the storm or became homeless because their owners had no houses to go back to.
They can't get into a home, at least the little ones could.
She says it's rewarding to help in any way possible while Alabama recovers from the devastation.
And this little guy is Andrew. He was one of the 78 animals rescued from Birmingham, Alabama, and he hopes to find a home very soon.
And Andrew isn't the only one looking for a new family.
I have this little girl, Anna, here, and she's about 2 years old. And
before the animals can go to new homes, they need to get a behavioral and medical evaluation. However, North Shore says by Thursday they should be ready to go. In Port Washington, Jody Goldberg, LI News Tonight.
Wall Street edged higher today as China's trade surplus eased fears about a slowdown in global economic growth. And Microsoft said it would pay $8.5 billion in cash for internet phone service Skype. The Dow closed up more than 75.5 points. The Nasdaq closed up more than 28.5 points. And the S&P 500 ended the day nearly 11 points higher. Stay with us. We'll have more news and weather right after this as LI News Tonight continues. Here, 3 memoir authors share their stories at 3 Short Women, 3 Tall Tales at the Northport Public Library on Thursday, May 19th at 7:30 p.m. For more information, call 631-261-6930. There are 2 freshwater fishing clinics for junior anglers at Caleb Smith State Park Preserve in Smithtown on Saturday, May 21st. One is at 9 a.m., the other at 1 p.m. To reserve a spot, call 631-265-1054. Spend a little time at home with Ginger Rogers, a theatrical tribute and high tea at the Ward Melville Heritage Organization in Stony Brook on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 11:30 a.m. and Sundays at 12:30 p.m. through June 12th. No show on Memorial Day weekend. Advance reservations are required. For more information, call 631-689-5888 or check out Spies, How Long Island Patriots Helped George Washington Win the Revolution. It's an interactive exhibit at the Three Village Historical Society in Setauket on Sundays in June from 1 till 4 p.m. For more information, call 631-751-3730. If you have an event you'd like included on the LI News Tonight community calendar, send it to linewstonight@nyit.edu.
Press play to start your future. Learn the industry. Use the technology. Become an expert in television reporting, journalism, radio, digital film, public relations and advertising, television production, digital graphics, a beautiful state-of-the-art campus, a road to the job you've always wanted, in the media capital of the world. Communication Arts at NYIT. When can you start?
In international news, NATO says its warplanes struck a command and control facility in the middle of Libya's capital today. The alliance says the targets were all military. An Italian general denies NATO is targeting Muammar Gaddafi. He says NATO has no evidence about what the Libyan leader is doing and says they're not really interested. He also says NATO forces have struck 30 regime military targets around Misrata over the past 8 days. The rebel-held western port city has been under siege by Gaddafi's forces for 2 months, but rebels say they're making gains. Japan's prime minister says his government will put a new emphasis on renewable energy and conservation as central elements of the country's energy policy. Naoto Kan says nuclear energy and fossil fuel had previously served as pillars of that policy, but he's scrapping a plan that called for Japan to get half of its electricity from nuclear plants. The announcement comes after a March earthquake and tsunami triggered a crisis at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. Khan says the government bears a major responsibility for having promoted nuclear energy, and he apologized for failing to prevent the nuclear accident. A Syrian human rights group says more than 750 civilians have been killed in Syria since an uprising against President Bashar Assad's regime began in mid-March. The head of the National Organization for Human Rights in Syria says the group has lists of names, ages, causes of death, and the areas where people were killed. He says thousands of people have been detained in the past 2 months, including about 9,000 still in custody. Assad has dispatched troops and tanks to many areas to crush the 7-week uprising that poses the most serious challenge to his family's 40-year rule. High school students deciding on a college may be nervous about making the right choice. So to make the selection easier, New York Institute of Technology invites potential candidates to become students for a day so they can experience what college life is like, as Venusa Laveau reports.
High school and transfer students recently had a unique experience of becoming a college student for a day. They visited the Old Westbury campus of New York Institute of Technology to help them decide where they'd like to start their college career.
They actually offered the chance for me to be here today and get a better understanding of how the campus is and how life would be before I actually decide on coming. That's great. You know, it's a great step to getting the students engaged and actually want to come, to motivate the students to come.
Prospective students like Joe Lunger were able to experience firsthand what campus life is all about, although he says there are still decisions to be made.
I haven't sat in on any classes yet, so hopefully I'll get a good feel of it.
Potential students are able to experience college life even before the semester begins.
It's just a great program to get students involved, to see what NYIT is all about. We're the little known gem on Long Island on the North Shore, so we hope to get students to get experience and hopefully choose NYIT in the fall.
And one candidate might have already been convinced.
Overall, this has definitely been the best experience that I've had on my exploration around New York.
In Old Westbury, Venusa Laveau, LI News Tonight.
We had a partly cloudy day across the island with today's high in the upper 60s. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 50. Wednesday, partly cloudy with a high in the upper 60s. Thursday, mostly sunny with a high in the upper 60s. Friday, a few showers possible with a high in the upper 60s. And the outlook for Saturday, showers with a high in the mid-60s. And that's it for LI News Tonight. I'm Carol Pack. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow. Have a good night.